pick one or the other. And okay, Democrats feel that black folks have been used because we always pull the car out the ditch and get them started and keep it moving. But in this election, there's only two choices. And if we don't make our kids and our college age kids understand the power of them voting, as you said, on the community levels, to get their people in those positions, and then to have those people actually do what we put them in the office to do. That's something that I don't think they get as well as, like you said. I think it goes hand in hand with what household you come from. I didn't learn this until I was actually in college. My mother could care less about voting, and even when Barack won, and I was so excited about that, she was like, "Oh, now come on, you came through the '60s." Mama used to grab me by the hand and say, "We gonna march and we gonna do this and whatever we need to do." And all you could say was "oh" because a black man was just elected. The reason she thought "oh" was because she worked in the Pentagon with the generals, and they told her when we got rights to vote, they said, "Oh, you're happy there, it won't last long."
Wow.
He told her to her face, "It won't last long. Wow. You think you people have succeeded, but it won't last long." And so she knew he might get in office, but she understood how the government situation was played. So there was no thrill for her to see it. She lived to see it. I wouldn't let her take my bloom off my rose because I was thrilled to see it. And I think with these kids fighting about Palestine, they understand now and they're not buying into this whole Jewish thing. And we're going to have to continue to educate our kids with this that's going on. So education for our community is the way out. And they can like it or not like it. And when I say education, that doesn't mean everybody got to get a college degree. That doesn't mean, everybody has a niche, and we need to help people find that niche, and that's power.
Yeah, I mean, like you were saying, I was going to say, key thing for me is education right now. Like being an educated voter, being educated financially, being educated in what the society is doing. Like these systematic things that go on are not new. It's not a new trick. It's not a new thing. It's been there all our lives. So to fall for the same trick, how do you keep blaming somebody because you falling for the same trick? You know when you go rob these stores, they're going to let you rob these stores, count it up, and when they catch you, they're going to throw you in. And you're going to be a number, and then you're going to be like, I'm with my homies all weekend, which doesn't make sense. They're making
money off of each one of the homies.
So when you do that, it's just the systematic of us learning and breaking our cultural lock that we have, things that we do as a culture that are just not there. There's reasons why you'll see other cultures have big homes and 18 people live in a house because they're saving for a goal. But we have a big home and we chilling. We get things to shine, not to prosper. So, changing our mindset as a culture to being more into like, let's do something to be better as a people is one thing we have to do.
Doug, that is distracting. Sorry.
Thank you.
Why don't say?
Does it to me. I'm sorry, we digressed.
Right.
And luckily, these microphones are, dynamic, so they're only picking up what's in front of them.
No, but I can hear him.
Yes, you're right.
I can hear that. That's distracting. I'm trying to listen to him and I'm hearing that.
Sorry, Sharon.
You're welcome.
Well, my whole thing is it starts right in the house. You can't go out and solve a problem outside of the house if the house ain't right inside. So me personally, I had made it a point. I came up in a single family home, mother ran everything. And I said, I'm not having that for my kids. I'm going to go ahead, even if me and the mother don't see eye to eye, they're still my kids, and we're going to raise them together. And moving forward, that's always been my goal, and thank God that all of them are independent on their own. A little side story to that. Us men, So you got a daughter, she always gonna be in your pocket, right? A lot of truth to that. So I didn't learn how to do a budget. I mean, probably after college, when I started working for corporations and stuff. That's when I started learning about budgeting. So my daughter, she had probably been out of school probably about 10 years or so. And she just never had money. I said, there has to be something going on. There's something wrong with this picture. I said, come on up to the house, bring all your bills with you. We're going to sit down and we're going to do a budget. You know? And thanks be to God, me sitting down and, you know, showing her, look, baby, you only got this much coming in, and you got all of this going out. That coming in ain't keeping up with that, you know? So she said, Daddy, thank you. You know, so, and I must say, she had been back in my pocket since then.
But to your point, that household took time to show her. Had you not shown her, my niece didn't know how to address an envelope. They didn't teach them in school.
Yeah.
And I had to show her how to address the envelope.
Yeah.
And she was 18.
And so my point is, we just have to make sure that home is straight, because as long as home is straight, it's going to emanate out into the community. People will like, wow, what they got going on, you know? They're not stressed about nothing, you know? And they could be eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for lunch, but they got this glow about them. That's because that foundation is there. Yeah. So my point is, and what I strive for is, make sure that the foundation in the home is right, and then it's going to spill out into the community and everything. And also, I want to talk on, there's still hope about people that get in these positions, you know, how people get in positions. In Anne Arundel County, they elected the first black sheriff. So I went to his pre-election fundraiser, for lack of better words. That's what it was, pretty much. And, you know, he talked about things that he wanted to implement in the community by him becoming, you know, the first black sheriff. And he went on, he won. So I said, okay, now the rubber meets the road. I want to see, you know, you back up all that talk. And he was, in his pre-election speech, he was talking about doing things in the community. I'm here to tell you that brother has been towing the line. He's been backing up, you know, his pre-campaign speech and everything. For instance, he got involved, we was working on a project at church, reaching out into the community, trying to make it better, right, between police community and just our immediate community. He's been our advocate. He showed up for the film viewing. He said, we're here for y'all, whatever you need. And this was a process of about maybe 3 months that we were, you know, doing something together, learning about each other. So after we finished that, then we had to decide on a project that we wanted to do in the community that would involve white, black law enforcement officers. His deputy was there. She was there before I got there. You know, it was we did a mural together. That's and we had a mural unveiling that particular day. She didn't get the memo that it didn't start until 10. Originally, it was supposed to start at 8, but we completed it so fast till it was like, well, ain't no sense of being here at 8 o'clock. We just show up at 10 and do the unveiling. So again, he was there. So we decided, we being the community, the two churches, we said, well, there's no sense in coming out with a new program. Whatever the sheriff's department, whatever the community engagement thing is, we'll just piggyback on that. And they had somewhere around July, they had a clothing drive for the homeless shelter there in Annapolis. And I said, cool, need clothes, get ready. So went on and, you know, participated in that. Then they had another project, I forget, but what my point is, he's backing up what, you know, his pre-campaign speeches were. Additionally, what I found out is he said, you know, our chief of police, they got a boss. The state troopers, they got a job. He said, but me as a sheriff, I don't have to answer to
He's independent.
all of those.
See,
Thank
that
you.
makes a
Yeah.
difference.
He said, I call my own shots. And so there is hope. He reiterated that,
Get the right people.
through his action. I said, well, okay, not only is he talking the talk, but he's walking the walk as well. So, and by the way, he was an major in the PG County Police Department. He was in charge of, what was that shooter, that sniper?
Malvo.
Yeah. He was in charge of being the mouthpiece for PG County during that time span and everything. So.
Well,
William?
So we start with Burrell and end with Burrell.
Yeah. I agree with each and every one of you, the statements you made to make our communities better and stronger. And I know for me and my wife, right, we don't care who it is, as long as the Lord put it on our heart and stuff, young kids, relatives, whatever, we always give things like this, right? But personally, what I'm saying, and I hate to say this, I don't want to be negative, right? But what's happening today is just repeating itself in history. And you see these young kids today, 4 or 5 years old, disrespecting their parents. They actually running the homes, stuff like this. So where do we gain control of that? Where do we get the parents
stop
to do the right thing?
having babies.
Yeah,
Let's
and
start there.
I mean, it's so frustrating to see that. I mean, you see kids, and but the only thing, I guess, is just to do the best you can and keep moving forward. Try to encourage people to move in the right direction on however you do when you run across them.
Roland, with the young mothers, I can't speak with the dads because they're kids. They're having these babies so young, they can't teach what they weren't taught.
There you go.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
just like I always told Doug, when we were growing up, Mama taught us about God and all the right things to do. So when I was out of her sight, that was already embedded in me.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to have her be there
Yeah.
to make me do the right thing.
Yeah.
Those young folks are having these babies, and they're babies, and their moms, like she said, are looking for them to bring the rent money in.
Yeah.
And when you get down to survival,
Yeah, that's right.
so we're up against all those issues. When you're trying to keep food on the table and not be set out on the street, and your young son is coming in with $3,000 a day.
Yeah. But do y'all remember, just to go back, right? When we was growing up, you always respected your elders. I don't care who they were.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff like this, right?
And the neighbors and
But
people down the street.
The neighbors had an opportunity to go be behind if you got out of line.
when I got a chance to be outside of a black culture, and I might have been 18 or 19, something like this, all black culture, stuff like this, I seen the difference. I seen the kids, the white kids, how they would act to their parents. Now, I'm talking years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And then y'all remember when they came up with the law that the child could call 911?
Or you can divorce your parents.
Yeah, well,
My mama told me during that time, go ahead and call 911.
that's what she said.
No, she invited me to
Yeah.
call 911.
Yeah.
See, so I already had gotten that embedded in me.
Yeah.
These kids now, every time a child was going to touch a gun, I knew my dad had guns. I knew better. Didn't think about it.
Right.
And that boy bought the gun and shot his teacher. Now, she's doing 2 years, or they gave her 2 years, or what have you.
Yeah.
I don't know why there's an understanding that you don't touch certain things. You don't go in your parents' rooms and
No,
certain
that's
things,
right.
and there's no
That's right.
boundaries.
That's
So if
right.
I'm not afraid of God, my teachers, the police,
Yeah.
my pastor, so I took all of the authority off the table. So who is this 6-year-old kid afraid of?
Because their parents aren't parents sometimes.
That's what I'm saying.
Like you said, 14-year-olds having a kid, and at 14, it's grandmothers at 30.
Yeah.
But y'all still got to remember, right, that a lot of this started when Reagan brought crack into the neighborhoods to support his Iran-Contra
We dealing with crack babies.
Yeah.
We doing crack babies. But it goes back to the community. Again, I remember being in North Carolina, and if I was outside cutting up, because I was a precarious child, I own every bit of that, and the neighbor had the opportunity to check me.
Yeah.
And then I was scared because I knew she was going to tell my mama.
Yeah.
And then my mama going to tell my daddy. So that's 3 beatings I'm going to get my ass with. And then my mama going to tell my grandma, who's going to tell my aunts and uncles, who's going to say, why you outside showing your ass? Like, you know what I mean? But that's like
that 14-year-old mother doesn't have that.
none of that. Yeah, they don't have
And her
that.
grandmother is not even 50 years old.
Yeah.
And also, you talk about, your surrounding community tuning you up. Even in school, you got tuned up.
Yeah.
Oh, it's in 7th grade. I went to Bacchus over in Northeast, and they were still hitting you with those paddles.
Yeah.
If it wasn't your hand, it was your behind.
Mhm.
So, but I don't
Right, so
believe
they
in
had
the.
the paddle.
Yeah.
Oh,
When
yeah.
I was in school, they had the paddle there, and Mr. Ratliff, never forget that man.
See?
He had he's a big old man, and he had the door taken out of the principal's office, and he put in a glass door.
Just so you
So
can see him.
when you come by, everybody that's going to lunch, if you want to see who has been misbehaving today, they will be getting swatted at this time,
Yeah.
and you can walk right by there and watch them getting their behind whooped on your way to lunch.
Like I said, our community has that weak point,
Yeah.
and all of society comes into that point. And if we have little kids out here now carjacking, they arrested 10 of them. There's been recently
All of
carjacking
them,
people.
yeah.
So
And they're young, so they get right back out.
Yeah. But see, when I was growing up, what you did outside the household was a reflection
Of your
on
house.
your parents and your grandparents and everything like that. So, you really thought about that when you did anything.
you heard me when I said grandma's not even 50 yet.
Yeah, I can't.
Grandma's still trying to do her thing.
Grandma
And
probably
then-
in the club.
then the mama
Yeah.
so, we all can identify the problems.
Yeah.
The thing is, how do you get your arms around such a large community of
Yeah.
people that are angry about their situation? Doug had a brother to go out groove, and kids resented him trying to talk to them about doing the right thing and coming. He got shot in
Really?
Baltimore. They killed him.
See, Will and
So
he took a
you're-
friend of his.
you guys, I would be scared for you
Yeah.
to try to approach
Yeah,
some of
you
these
can't say
kids.
you can't say anything. You really can't.
And his intent was to
good.
help.
Mhm.
And he didn't barely get a few words out because the guy said, "Oh, you think you who are you? You coming up in here? You
Yeah.
gonna get us straight?"
Yeah.
He shot him.
They told Will went to Baltimore up to the school
Oh yeah.
up there some time back. Him and he was and a buddy of him. They had talked about to try to help the kids get back to to the school, which would be the community and everything there in Baltimore. And when he went in there and got a chance to talk to the principal, and they told him, he told Will, I don't want to say anything bad or talk bad on you, but basically, you're nobody, so you're not a named person,
Yep.
and so they're not gonna listen to
He
nothing
wasn't
you have to say or
famous
anything
well
like that.
known
So
and all that kind of stuff.
That's
It's
what
just
I'm
a
trying
waste
to
of
tell you. It's a
time.
waste of time.
Yeah.
And Doug was over there, and I told him I don't like him being in the old neighborhood. I told him to stay away from the old neighborhood. I've given him
Yeah.
I said they see you as an old man,
Yeah.
and stop messing around with
And,
him.
and a target, too.
Yep. That's right.
And I don't want him up in the old neighborhood, and he still sees it the way it was when he grew up.
Yeah.
It's not that anymore.
I had, to that point, in actual police and stuff, Alcorn County has what they call a PAC unit, police and community togetherness. And this one brother, he's a brother, right? And he came out of Baltimore, out the hoods and everything. He said, all the projects in Baltimore, I lived in them, and everything. I know about the welfare cheese and all that, Yeah. So he said, my people still live over Cherry Hill, He said, I'm so glad that I go packing, when I go up there and see my people.
Yes, sir.
He said, because, they push up on it.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
telling
And then somebody say, he good, he good people, he good people.
Yep.
He go and see his people and everything. He say, little do they know, that I'm packing, and everything, but somebody vouched for it.
Yeah.
That's what
That's
my point is and stuff. So yeah, it's craziness out
that's
there.
that.
you. So thank you everyone, and I appreciate your time, and I hope you got a full stomach.